cette liberté de nous réjouir en toi.
Hello, I go by Mr. Donnell Ely, as you often call me Mr. D. So Mr. D is my nickname. Great. I am grade 5 teacher. In grade 5, our identity is Daniel. As Daniel, the sanctification is our strength. Remember, last time I taught you definition of history and the purpose of history. So tell me, what is the definition of history? What is history? And what is the purpose of history? Take time to think and give the answer. Okay, that's fantastic. So now tell me, how can you know the history? How can you know it? Something that happened in the past, how will you know about that? Okay? So this is what we're going to study today in history. Today in history, we're going to study knowing history, how you can know history. So let's get the ball rolling. We know history thanks to sources. We know history thanks to sources. If you want to go or learn what happened in the past, you will look for sources of history. And we have 4 sources of history. As it is written here, there are 4 sources of history. We have 4. The first source is oral tradition. Oral tradition. So what is oral tradition? It's a source that is transmitted orally from mouth to ear, passing from generation to generation. This source, it happens orally from mouth to ear, and it passes from generation to generation. And we have an example here. A dad tells his son the story of DRC. Okay? When you are with your daddy and he starts telling you stories of your family or the story of the country, okay? At that time, your dad becomes a source. And since your dad speaks, this source is called oral tradition. I think it is easy for you. So the source number 2, we have silent document. Silent document. What is silent document? These are vestiges. I think you know vestige. Vestige is the footprints. When you step, the sign that remains, we call that vestige. And in some countries, they have their ancestors who passed somewhere and their footprint remained. And we call that sign a vestige. Okay? Silent documents are vestiges, as I've just explained to you, or they remain materials left by man in the past. So everything that man left in the past, we call those things they don't speak, maybe clothes and whatever. Since they don't speak, we call them silent documents. So here are some examples of silent documents. We have here monuments. You know, here in the Congo, we have some monuments. If you want to go to the airport, you will pass by Limete Township. And sometimes you see these monuments. Guess with me, who's this man? Okay, this is Lumumba, the first Prime Minister of Congo. Okay, this is the monument of Lumumba. Whenever you pass by there, you see this monument, but it can't talk because it is a monument. Okay, so it is a silent document. When you see this, you remember about the story of the country, you remember of Lumumba, but it can't talk, so we call it silent documents. Apart from monuments, we have statues. You know, in America, you have the statues of liberty like this, right? It is a statue. That statue can talk, so we call it silent documents since they can talk. Okay? We have also stones. In some countries, we have stones that tell stories of the past events. Okay? Since you cannot communicate with the stones, we call These things, silent documents, okay? And we have other silent document that you can quote at home. That's why here I have written, etc. and so on, okay? 3, we have written documents. You see the verb to write. This source, okay, is transmitted by through writing, okay? Written document are document transmitted through writing. We have example here. We have books, we have notebook, we have Bible, and so on. So anything you write with, after this generation, the next generation will study that, and it's gonna be like a document, written document for them, okay? And the last one is a recorded document, okay? When I say recorded document, I think you understand. These are documents that were recorded. So how can you record something? We record things through CD, you know CD. We have DVD. We have tapes. We have phones. With your phones you can record, okay? We have phones. We have pen driver. With a pen driver you can record many things, okay? Thank you so much. We are at the end of our lesson. But before we get separated, I'd like to give you an exercise that you will do at home, right? Number 1, match the following sources of history with their examples. Here we have sources of history, and over there we have examples. You will match each source with its examples. We have here written documents, oral tradition, recorded document, silent document, and examples we have a mom telling a story, B, monument, vestige, C, tape, cassettes, and D, we have a newspaper. So you will match them. Thank you so much for watching this video. But last but not least, don't forget what is killing people these days in the whole world. I talk about COVID-19, so we have to respect all the barrier gestures. Whenever you want to cough, please do it in your elbow. And whenever you want to go to crowded places, please use your surgical mask. Goodbye.